What are the common mistakes that are being made in private code? What do you think are the big issues we need to worry about?
Well, I think the biggest one is insecure secrets. People are putting API keys inside of their source code just so that when they check it out on another machine, the other developers that are using it don't have to configure their system. One of the problems with that is, every private repository is one click away from being public. And if that happens and you start open sourcing code, even if the secret's not in that code currently, it's in the history. So people can just scan through the history of the Git repository and find it really easily.
One of the great executions that I saw of threat modeling was they kind of made it into a much more fun interactive event, and they called it malicious brainstorming. If you kind of take something out of what is in its box and becomes a very security focused thing, you make it interactive and fun, then people want to be able to come up with these ideas of how to kind of do this malicious actions. From a developer point of view, it's really a powerful tool, and it can be really effective because everything kind of changes and developers can form this confirmation bias of how something works and going through it. And threat modeling is a great exercise to really just break everyone out of that rapidly, to these new ideas that stay with them when they're going through it. So, I mean, it is a powerful tool for developers, like for sure, and it can be done really well.
DevSecOps, by definition, that's only been around really as a term for about 6-7 years. But by definition, it's like everyone's responsible for security. So if you look at that definition, then the term DevSecOps, it doesn't or shouldn't even exist, right? So if you start looking at what we're learning in schools and educational institutions, we should be just embedding security as just part of everything we do. With that, like defensive coding strategies, as we're teaching, the next generation of developers and engineers how to code, we need to be thinking about these things right out of the gate. If you show any student how to get a shell, and actually execute an exploit, their eyes get wide open. And they're like, wow, that was easy. So it just puts, almost the fear in the heart of the engineer, right?
What more could security people learn from developers if they listen to them, Mackenzie?
There needs to be a two-way dialogue going in here. And I think that how developers use the tools that are given to them and the constraints that they have, what we see is that security teams will give developers tools to use that are too cumbersome, that create too many false positives or restrict them too much. Developers are creative. We come up with a way to find a way around these things. So I think what security engineers can kind of listen to developers is that understand the workflow and just know that if the tool is too cumbersome for them to use, that it's not going to be used. So they need to understand that workflow, as frustrating as it may be for everyone to have that conversation.
If I could give one piece of advice or even two pieces of advice to everybody, first is focus on open source and know what you have, and definitely look into bill of materials. It's going to become very important over the next few years to understand what you have in the software you create and what you have in the software that you're consuming and that you're bringing in. I think there's a big risk around that. And if you're going to start anywhere, start with that.